Alright, everybody. I think we are live, but I gotta switch the cameras around on a couple of them. Sorry. Okay, can everybody see me okay? Let me readjust myself here. We're gonna get started here in just a second while everybody is getting on. I'm sure it's coming on top. Alright, just a second. While everybody's getting on, we are going to go live. It'll be a little bit loud tonight. Don't worry about it. We are doing it for a special area. Aye. Okay. Alright, so if you're coming on and you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up as you're coming on. What I'm going to do as you're coming on, I'll show you where we're at. I will let everybody get a chance to see where we're at and everything. And we are currently going to do our live feed here at Native Grill and Wings. Their awesome manager, Dave. Make sure you come in and say hi to him tonight. Alright, beautiful that the sun's going down. You got the clouds going. You got the beautiful landscape going on. Alright, so as everybody's getting on, we are going to be going live. We do have a thing to do tonight. I'm going to turn a couple of the things towards me. Alright, there we go. Oops, that didn't turn over. Alright, here we go. Back towards me. Alright, here we are. So, we're going to put this one up here then. There we are. Can everybody still see okay? Alright. So, as we're getting everybody on, as everybody's coming on and everything, and as everybody is, as everybody can try to hear me, see me, I'm going to put this one the other way. I like it better if it's the other way. The other camera's always a little bit easier to use. Alright. And it's one heck of a view when you do it right. So if you guys can hear me, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and turn it to the viewpoint so everybody can actually see the background also and see just the wonderful, I come from a city that's got this, just a beautiful city, okay? I love my city, I love my town. Might have to put this one down a little bit lower in order for everybody to actually see that, but we're going to be focusing here in just a second. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Can everybody see me okay? Should be able to. Alright, what I usually do is I open up the book. Today we're going to go ahead and start the first stage of stage 1, like I told everybody. And I'll go over it a little bit here in just a second. If the wind blows something down, I apologize, okay? So I'm going to read a quick passage while we're waiting on everybody to get on, and so that I make sure everybody can hear me and make sure that if there's any problems, okay? So, let's go with this one. If given the chance to go back, I would not take it. Therefore, the decision to go ahead is my only responsibility. To be accepted with a whole heart, or so I write here, and faint hope that the words may give me courage. That's by Pete Matheson, okay? Another one. I got this one dated from June 5th, 2008, okay? It's by Anonymous. Ready? To laugh is to risk appearing the fool. To weep is the risk appearing sentimental. To reach out to another is to risk involvement. To express feelings is to risk exposing your true self. To place ideas and dreams before a crowd is to risk their loss. To love is to risk being loved in return. To live is to risk dying. To hope is to risk despair. To try is to risk failure. But risk must be taken because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. The person who asks nothing, does nothing, has nothing, and is nothing. They may avoid suffering and sorrow, but they cannot learn, feel, change, grow, love, live. Chained by their attitudes. They are a slave. They have forfeited their freedom. Only a person who risks is free. I've been reading that one for years because I always tell everybody, everybody says, with all the different things that I've done and with the different things my friends do and everything else, it started, I guess, way back in high school and everything else, that we live outside the box. And when you take risks, yeah, you're right. That's what risks are all about. But the worst thing you can do is not take a risk at all, okay? So, let's go ahead and get started. Now, I asked everybody the what-if questions, okay? What if you got a speeding ticket today? Could you afford going into court to take it? Right, but could you afford the insurance, okay? What if the police showed up here at your door to take your kids away because the other parent decided to lie, cheat, or steal in order to get a false order protection? Because guess what? There's nothing that the courts can do until the following Monday or the holiday's over with. What are you going to do if all of a sudden you're driving down the road and you get a bad accident? Okay? What if all of a sudden your insurance, you're basically found out you've been taken advantage of by your insurance? What if you get a lemon phone, but the company says, sorry, that was your fault, you can't get another one, and by the way, you have to keep paying the thousands of dollars it costs for a freaking iPhone, a Samsung phone, alright? What if your kids get bullied in school, and then the police take them to the school sends them to the police department to be interrogated? What if you find out that your child, who is under the age of 18, was interrogated by police officers who are allowed, or at one time were allowed to lie to them in order to try to get a confession out of them? Luckily in Illinois, the governor changed that rule just in July to where they're no longer allowed to lie to anybody under the age of 18. What if you're accused of a crime that you never committed? What if one of your kids is at college and they're driving their drunk friends home, but there's a gun underneath the seat? Everything I'm telling you has happened to somebody. Everything I'm telling you are situations that happen every single day. Driving down the road, getting a speeding ticket, a parking ticket, a traffic ticket, just being at home, What if something goes on or you're falsely accused? What if all of a sudden you get charged with a situation like child porn or child endangerment? What if you get charged with abuse, but it turns out it's the other parent or somebody in the daycare system that's abusing the children, but you're the one that's being blamed for it? What if you have all these situations that can come up and every single person says, oh, it'll never happen to me? Every day in life, I always hear everybody say, this will never happen to me. I don't need to worry about that stuff because that stuff will never happen to me. You know what they're actually saying? They're not saying it never happened to me, it'll never happen to me. They're saying I can't afford it. They're saying that if it happens, I'd rather choose to ignore it because I can't do nothing about it. Ignore it so you don't have to implore it. Get it? Basically, people ignore the legal system because they can't afford the legal system if they get in trouble or if something happens. I know my friends have committed suicide, and 17 out of 20 men and women in the military, or just people in depression, but the military especially, 17 of them have some kind of legal issue going on. Whether it's fighting family cases, going through a divorce, going through a separation, having foreclosure on their house, being kicked out of an apartment, losing their kids because they can't afford proper legal. Now, why do I ask all these what-if questions? Because people every day, they're like, I don't need it, I don't need this. And the thing about it is, within months I get calls because they're like, hey Jeff, can you help out? Why? Because on average, a lawyer is $300 an hour, on average, across all 50 states in the United States. What I'm here today to tell you about is something that's a little bit simpler, and I'm going to kind of explain it to you. So stage one. What we can do is I can put a package together for you that's very, very simple. Less than $1 a day. Okay? What you can do, what if you could call in to a law firm, an international law firm, a law firm that's powerful in the United States. And you can ask unlimited questions on unlimited topics, including pre-existing. What if you could ask what happens if my child gets bullied? What if you could ask, what can I do to get a speeding ticket? What can I do to expunge my record? What can I do about insurance problems or insurance issues? What can I do about getting my CDL or an LLC? What's the difference between a will and a healthcare power of attorney? What is a trust for a minor? What's probate? What if you could call in instead of asking your friends? And I always tell everybody, you know what, in the Marine Corps, every Marine is a lawyer. Every Marine will give you advice. But every Marine will be sitting in jail with you, or they will be having even more tickets than you do because every single one of them knows more than everybody else, and they don't know anything at all. Same with truck drivers, same with families. What I do is I protect families for a living. What I do is I protect the individual mom and dad. I protect the family as a whole. I protect everybody up to the age of 26 living home or college or the military. And the reason why I do this, and especially if a family has a special needs child or somebody that needs a little extra help and can't do it on their own, we will protect that child for the life of the policy if they fall in that category. But what if all you got to do is pick up a phone and ask a question? What if you got to do is push an app on your phone and get a lawyer, and that lawyer is going to call you back within 4 business hours? What if that lawyer talks to you, then all of a sudden comes to the conclusion that, by the way, let's go ahead and make a phone call or send out a letter on your behalf so we don't have to go into court. Maybe somebody owes you money. Maybe you owe somebody money. Maybe, you're falling behind on something. You need a little extra time. The thing about it is, they listen to law firms. They don't necessarily listen to individuals. Now, I have all these people all the time tell me, well, I can fight it on my own. I can fight it on my own. Yeah, but do you have that kind of time? You're so busy trying to have a living, make a living by actually making money, that you don't have time to go into court. And the more you got to go into court, the more you got to pay a bill, the more money you lose, the more money you got to work. Well, you got to work, but you can't work because you got to go into court. But what if you have a lawyer to do that for you? What if you have somebody that can handle the traumatic to the trivial to the traumatic? What if you could have somebody send out a letter or phone call on your behalf? What if you, in any given month, you can have one of our lawyers read over up to 15 pages of any document or contract? Maybe somebody said, okay, I owe you money, and put it on an envelope or put it on a napkin. That's a legal document. But what if you got a lawyer and a law firm that will look at that for you? Not just a lawyer, but a law firm. We're the only proprietary network of law firms in the United States. We represent all 50 states. So we have huge law firms all over the United States that represent our members. And you know what? There's no contracts, co-pays, deductibles. I'm going to keep going with the more stuff you get just for the 29 bucks. But guess what? When you do this, you're covered. No contracts, okay? So if you're not happy, so get rid of it. But guess what? 29 compared to 300 an hour, instead you're paying 29 a month. There's a big difference. Why can we do this? Because we have over 6 million plus members. All right? Now, what if we can handle, maybe you and your wife, or you and your husband, or somebody just decide, hey, it didn't work. If you've been with us for 90 days, we'll do uncontested name change, uncontested adoption, uncontested divorce, uncontested representation for foster care. Now, a lot of people are like, why would somebody want to get a name change? Maybe something bad happened to somebody. Maybe somebody changed their name because they were in a marriage or something. Maybe there's all these situations. I didn't realize how important name changes were. We'll actually do name changes every year, once a year. Okay? We'll give you 60 hours of civil trial defense time. That means if you're named in court for some reason, trial, pre-trial, discovery phase, you have 60 hours. Then the next year we're going to give you another 60. That's 120. Up to 5 years where you have 300 hours. But what happens if you use them? Well, the next year it just starts over again. Because you're always going to have that time, okay? Traffic-related situations. My God, every day we're in our vehicles. We drive our vehicles so much that you never know from day to day what's going to happen. What if? And this one happened to me. There was an accident, and there was a school bus, a truck in front of me, a car freaking. I go through the green light. The truck in front of me all of a sudden sees that there's cars coming behind him through the red lights after I already went through the green light. And there's a school bus. I had to swerve out of the way. The truck had to swerve out of the way. But then all of a sudden, all those vehicles hit me because 4 cars back, there was a teenager on their cell phone while there's ice on the road talking. It was more important for them to basically be on their phone than was to pay attention to what was going on in front of them. But you want to know what the cops did? They didn't know that was going on at the time. I handed our emergency services over to the police officer who basically took it, handled it, and guess what? Nothing happened. I was able to get a hold of my insurance company, and everything was taken care of. I didn't have to go to court. I didn't have to go to get questioned or anything else. My lawyers handled everything else. Why? Because we handle all traffic-related situations. We also have an emergency service, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for all emergency situations. Maybe you're being detained. Maybe you're being questioned. Guess what? You have a right to a lawyer right then and there. Not the next week. You have a right to a lawyer immediately. But how many of you, basically, everybody tells me, well, I've got a lawyer. No, you don't. You still have to pay for that. You still have to pay for your family members. You still got to pay for your friends that think they're good. But how many of your family or friends are, it's the weekend? All right, are they going to answer the phone? How many lawyers answer the phone after 5 o'clock, after it's time to get off? They're still in their office, but they're working on the stuff they have to finish up throughout the day. They're not answering for you. And if you get arrested or detained or something, you need a lawyer right then and there, not waiting on your friend to call you back who you don't even know where they're at. I've got that excuse all the time. I used to own nightclubs and stuff. You know how many people all said, I'm going to get my lawyer, I'm going to get my lawyer. Great, you're going to have to be paying hours and hours and hours. I have retainers. I got lawyers on retainer. Now I have lawyers every day of the week because it's even better than what I had before. Why? Because we don't know what's going to happen from day to day. I've got lawyer friends that actually use our services because they need a lawyer on call. Okay? We'll do your homeowner's agreement, and we'll review the entire thing separate than the 15 documents or contracts. All right? We'll do your will and healthcare power of attorney, which I go over all the time, and I give will workshops, and I tell people what is the difference between probate and non-probate. What's a state when a state has probate going on? Do you know what a probate is? Do you know what a will is? Do you know what a healthcare power of attorney is? Do you understand what a living will is? What happens if you get into a coma? Who's going to handle your businesses? Who's going to handle your bills and your kids and your family? Who's going to take that over? I had a friend of mine said, I don't need a will, my mom's going to handle it. His mom died 3 days later. Why? Because she's in her 80s, and she died a couple days later, just of old age. A lot of people, they still think their parents are going to handle everything for them, and the problem is they're in their 50s and 60s. I can't tell you how many people always say that they need to get a will. We're going to get a will today, tomorrow. You know what? We'll do the will. Guess what? If you don't want any of our other services, great. The will's $29. Guess what? You do it. Do it right on your phone. They're going to send you your living will then. Do that. Then they're going to send you a healthcare power of attorney. It all's the same price. It's not individual prices. It's all one package. Okay? We give you 50 hours of IRS audit service. Every single... Yeah, guess what? We give you 50 hours of IRS service. How many people have ever been audited? Well, what happens if you get audited? Have you ever heard the nightmares of being audited? And what's going on right now in our government with the IRS getting ready to look at everybody's finances and stuff? All right? So I wanted to go over that with you today because this is how quick these segments are going to go. But I want you to know that, look, if you have us, we're going to guarantee our stuff. All right? And if you're not happy with us, okay, so stop. Get your will done and be done with it. Go another direction. But you owe it to yourself to always be protected, even when you think you're not, because you matter and you're important. I'm Jeff Jansen. This is segment 1. We got 2 more segments today for truck drivers and for identity theft, which I'm going to do at a different location, okay? Hope you're all having a great day. Love y'all. Talk to you soon. By the way, if you want the services, go to jeffjansen.info or call me at 217-316-0883. All right, everybody. Talk to you in just a little bit. Bye. Whoops. Guess I forgot to start that one. Oh well.